Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
So my wife used to work in addiction. She not an addict. She was what they call a normie. But she was, she worked in it on a daily basis. She worked for Nashville Recovery Center. And the same reactions that people had to drugs, they have to sugar. Like withdrawal, shakes, headaches, all that stuff. It's so similar. And people would be like, oh, well, sugar's not the same as a recreational drug or whatever. It has been a recreational drug for the past, 50, 60, 70 years.
Yep.
So how is it different? It's not.
Yep.
It's not. People become addicted to it.
Yes, 100%. Dude, and sugar is way more deadly than... It kills more people in this country than all illicit drugs combined.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't understand why Tennessee hasn't passed the marijuana law yet, because that is the science behind that stuff is fantastic too. I know we're getting into weird things now.
Yeah, I'm good with weird things.
Like, man,
the science behind cannabis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And takes away inflammation. Prior to my wife working in recovery, she had the traumatic brain injury. And the inflammation and I'm a proponent of THC gummies and things like that. That helped her headaches. Like,
really?
It's a fact. She felt better when she took it.
I'm not shocked at all.
No.
By the way, we should talk about cannabis. It's 420.
Yeah.
We only get one of these a year, right?
I'm a huge fan.
Are you really?
I don't smoke it or anything like that.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't want to affect my lungs or anything like that.
Do you stick with edibles then?
I am a fan of gummies. So I try to stay away from baked goods because I'm not a big sugar person.
Okay.
But gummies, like little gelatin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read, there's a book over here that you might be interested in reading or listening to the audio version if there is one, called the Cannabis Manifesto. Mm-hmm. Really great book. Yeah. The best book I've read on the subject. It was written by Steve D'Angelo, who was early on with legalization in California. Mm-hmm. And the single best takeaway I got from that book was he basically refuses the categories of medicinal and recreational, and says the category should be basically proper use and misuse.
Agreed.
And I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. I mean, dude, I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are around its benefits and so forth. I think it's shocking the American people haven't risen up and taken back our government for this reason, among with many others. To think that you can have this plant that has been grown for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and no one has ever died from using it, and there's so many medical benefits from it, and it can alleviate human suffering. And it's not the magic plant. Nothing really is magic, but there is a lot of actual benefits from it, physical, mental. I mean, we could go down the list. And to say that that's going to be illegal because back in the day, black people were mixing with white people in jazz bars and smoking together, and that was part of the motivation behind making this thing illegal, is absurd. It's just absurd.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up as like this should be legal now because we're not trying to segregate people anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely, for sure.
Maybe people will do that now. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's absurd. I think there's a lot of false information out there. I think a lot of it's going away. Where do you see the benefits though with cannabis? I
mean, muscle aches, pains, inflammation in general. I eat a pretty low inflammatory diet, but I'm still working out an hour to 2 hours a day and a lot of squatting, my knees, my shoulders. Played college football, so everything hurts from then, because we didn't know what we were doing back then. And that was only in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So, but better sleep, depending on if you're going to do an indica or sativa, whatever works best for you. But yeah, I think the benefits far outweigh any negative. And some people would say, oh, well, it's a plant, so is cocaine, but it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I don't know a ton about cocaine, but you're doing different things with it. There's different effects on the body.
Well, you don't cut marijuana
with
chlorine and all the stuff that they cut it
Yeah,
with.
that's for starters.
You
yeah.
just you smoke a little flower, a bud.
Yes.
I mean, or whatever. So
How bad do you think smoking cannabis is for your lungs?
I mean, it's not probably not as bad as nicotine, and definitely not as bad as vaping, because like that some toxic metals are getting absorbed into your lungs, and
Yep.
that's what that's what the issue with COVID is, and putting people on ventilators is they're worried about metal settling in the lungs. That's what vapes do. I mean,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Do you do you use it every day then?
no,
Okay.
just when I feel like I need it, like
Oh,
if
okay.
I really need to get some sleep, or if I really am feeling beat up.
Yep.
I've been pretty lucky. I feel really healthy right now. So I don't use it all the time, but it's one of those things where if it's going to benefit me, and I mean, it's not going to hurt me in any manner.
Yep.
I mean, I'll look into it, and I'll do what I need to do.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the reports or the data or the science or whatever. Science is kind of an overused word now, but behind the damage that it does do, supposedly, or could do, or might do, or I don't know. I'll tell you this though, I have a friend who lives right over here, 75, 76 years old, Vietnam War vet, and the nicest guy, and he smokes all day, and he has ever since he was 15, 18. And well, it was whenever he came back from the war, which he was super young when he went into the war, and he was dealing with a lot of PTSD. And that dude, I mean, this is, call it 20, and now he's 75, 55 years he's been doing this. And it's not like once a day in the evening. This isn't all day, okay? Yeah. Dude, this dude is sharp. He is articulate. He's conversant. I mean, either he's got like some sort of different weird thing going on where that doesn't affect him, or maybe it's not so bad after all.
Well, a lot of that. It's not so bad, and the type of strain that you use, like sativa, is more of a heady. So you're actually going to be aware and good. You're not going to pass out on the couch or anything like that. You're going to be able to do what you do, just a little more clarity, a little more calm. And then indica is the one that puts you to sleep.
I've also noticed a theme with people that have dealt with health issues that was directly helped by cannabis, and that changing entirely their perception of it. And unfortunately, it's still. I mean, I know of one case where their kid had awful seizures, dude. And I can't imagine. Like, I cannot imagine seeing my 4-year-old son having a seizure on the bathroom floor. Like, I can't. The trauma that must put you through as a parent and that kid. I mean, it's awful. Yeah. Awful. Multiple things. Nothing helped. Cannabis, done. Hasn't had a seizure since.
That's awesome.
You know what? Is it legal? No. It's not legal in the state. There's a freaking kid on the floor having a seizure, and you can't technically, legally give that poor kid cannabis to help its seizure. Now explain that. It makes zero sense, dude. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I was against using any sort of illicit drug, I guess you could say, until my wife had her accident, and I saw the benefit of her head feeling better. I don't know how people could feel comfortable seeing a seizure and knowing that there's a way to fix it, and that's illegal.
Exactly.
Like that is heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking,
especially as a parent. Like, I mean, I saw my wife have one, and it was the worst day of my life. Ugh. So, I couldn't imagine my child doing it all the time.
Exactly. Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable. I know there is I can't say like a trend or this is a common thing, but I know multiple ex-NFL players are now getting involved in the cannabis industry in legal states, Colorado or wherever. Because
I love traveling to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, they've experienced the benefits. I think it's particularly something about the NFL with the head stuff and the cannabis helping that.
It's the inflammation.
Is that what it is?
The inflammation that it takes down from, and those guys you got to figure if you have a moderate to long career, that means you've played 4 years in high school, 4 years in college, and then X amount of time in the NFL. All they've done is have small car crashes on a daily basis, you know? And I played through college, and I mean, I had concussions throughout college, and we didn't know what we were doing back then, so I just went right back in the game.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a worry. Like, I won't even watch that movie Concussion. It's now my wife had that, so it's like, good Lord. Like, I hope that I don't have CTE at all.
Yeah.
But you know, the inflammation and what the cannabis or the marijuana does is it alleviates some of that. It's like a natural occurring anti-inflammatory. Obviously there's other things you can take, you know, a variety of things that will allow for less inflammation. But you know, in terms of one thing, I mean, that's highly beneficial and has minimal downside.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
There's a lot of misunderstanding about it. I had a guy in this office about a year ago, and I mean, I love this dude so much, but he was just like, there's no proven medical benefits to cannabis, but there is to alcohol. I was like, dude, you're working on information that's like 20 years old, bro. Like,
there's medical benefits to alcohol?
well, dude, back in the days of after the Prohibition or whenever it was, yeah, they were coming out and saying there's some medical benefits to alcohol. You know who probably was behind that? The lobbyists. You know,
how come gyms closed, but liquor stores and strip clubs stayed open?
Yeah.
Like,
Did strip clubs stay? No, they did not.
they did.
In
Ask the Crazy Horse down here by
What?
Forte. Yeah. Like those were places that you could still go during COVID. I mean, what's dirtier than a strip club? I don't know. There's not much. Like, my gym is cleaner than those places.
My gosh, yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, those are the things that stayed open.